In other world news, the French President Emmanuel Macron has kicked off day 2 of a 3-day state visit to the US this Tuesday. After a largely symbolic start to his trip in Washington on Monday, Macron has a jam-packed schedule today with an arrival ceremony which is set to kick off shortly. Well, later in the day, Macron and the US President Donald Trump will hold a joint press conference where they're expected to broach some key issues, including Iran's nuclear deal, the Syrian conflict and global trade. In the evening, the Trumps will welcome the Macrons at an official state dinner. Well, to bring us more on this, France 24's Philip Crowther is standing by at the White House. Philip, that ceremony not quite kicking off. What's the mood, though, in any case?
Well, this is a relationship that clearly is working out for these two presidents. They get along personally. We had a long look at their body language yesterday at Mount Vernon. That was the home of the very first US President, George Washington. They were there for a dinner amongst us, the four of them, the two presidents and the two first ladies. They seem to be getting along very well, despite the fact, of course, that they disagree on, well, almost all important foreign policy issues, the exception, of course, being recent military action by the United States, France and the United Kingdom together against regime targets in Syria. That is something that we expect these two presidents to mention at the very latest in their Oval Office meeting later this morning, and then also in their joint press conference at the White House. But so many things that they disagree upon. The most important one, of course, being the nuclear deal with Iran that could very well be, well, essentially abandoned by US President Donald Trump on the 12th of May. Time is running out for France and other European Union nations to convince Donald Trump to stay in that deal. That is very much the message that Emmanuel Macron will be bringing from Paris and from further afield, from Berlin and from London as well. This is pretty much his last chance to try and convince Donald Trump to stay in that deal. Other issues on which they disagree, of course, well, climate change is the obvious one. The Paris Climate Change Agreement, of course, having been signed in France and then having seen the withdrawal from the United States, but that has pretty much been and gone. Very little chance of Emmanuel Macron in any way convincing Donald Trump of getting back in that deal or not withdrawing altogether. There's also trade that they will be talking about in the Oval Office. Emmanuel Macron for France wants further exemptions when it comes to those trade tariffs that will be imposed on imports of steel and aluminium here in the United States. That's a new policy from the US president. Those exemptions will be running out very, very soon indeed. So many reasons why, in theory at least, these two presidents should not be getting along all too well. But the body language indicates something very different. There's no fear there to shake hands and to hug repeatedly on behalf of these two presidents. They will presumably do that again in just a few minutes' time. We're awaiting the official arrival ceremony on the south lawn of the White House. Emmanuel Macron has just departed Blair House here just across the road from the White House. That is where foreign dignitaries tend to stay when they stay overnight and visit the White House. He will be joined by the US President very soon there on the south lawn of the White House. And feel free, of course, to interrupt me when we take that live.
All right, Philip. For now, they're keeping us up to date from the White House. Thank you.